Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we are sharing to you what is in our minds after reading and analyzing the speech of Corazon Aquino during the joint session of the United States Congress on September 1986. First thing first, when former President Cory Aquino delivered her speech, she started telling stories and references to her husband, Ninoy Aquino, whom the Filipino nation had assigned as the poster boy for anti-Marcos movements. She connected her speech to Ninoy's struggles with that of the whole nation, all the while interdicting their family's history with the fate of the entire country. She justified her presence in front of the U.S. Congress using symbolic words and figurative language, alluding to her connection with the late Ninoy on one hand and satisfy her command to the Filipino people and the
Speech of Her Excellency Cory Aquino, they put Ninoy on a trial for subversion, murder, and a host of other crimes before a military commission. Ninoy challenged its authority and went on a fast, and if Ninoy survived it, God intended him for another fate. Ninoy could have made a separate peace with the dictatorship, as so many of his countrymen had done. But the spirit of democracy that inherits the race and animates this chamber could not be allowed to die. But his death was my conscious resurrection in the courage and faith by which alone they could free again. The dictator called him nobody. The people threw aside their passivity and escorted him to his grave.
Aquino quoted Archibald MacLeish, who has said that democracy must be defended by arms when it is attacked by arms, and by truth when it is attacked by lies. After which is spoken how he failed to say how it shall be won. Still we fought for honor, and we shall pay. She emphasizes that the fight years started was not wasted, and it was not nonsense won. That day, the Filipinos put up a good fight against the administration. Moreover, that she included Henry's speech, The Happiness, during the presidential election in 1986, how the Filipinos united to go against the Marcos regime that had burdened them for more than 1 decade. It was a declaration to the country, and its people finally gained freedom. The task had fallen on any shoulder to continue offering the democratic alternative to our people. She took the responsibilities in taking care and fighting for the sake of freedom of the whole country. However, shortly after being victorious, the dictatorship of Marcos, the Philippines was still reckoning with everything in his administration had inflicted. That includes $26 billion in total foreign and communist insurgents.
Democracy works because citizens are willing to engage with their government and create grassroots change. Building a non-violent movement in our country is a crucial part of ensuring a successful transmission to a democracy. Onto depends pillars of democracy in a situation wherein may be under threat. Voters see their power to choose their leader as the strongest check on the behavior of the government, their one chance to exact accountability. Indeed, ballots are almost sacred in the Philippines. Voters have risked their personal safety to exercise the right. In many cases, the public has seen it as their one weapon against those who abuse their position.
Hello everyone, my name is Kyla May Gonzalez and I'm here to tell you one of my reaction to the speech of President Cory Aquino. The way she was committed not only to his people but also to God. She gained power with no blood but peace. Not everyone can have a chance to gain power or to rule people. Or sometimes, people gain power with blood for money just to fulfill their wants. She once said that she had willed that the blood drawn with the lash shall not, in my country, be paid by blood drawn by the sword, but the tearful joy of reconciliation, which everyone want tears of joy, not tears of blood. Filipinos are now restoring full constitutional government, restoring democracy by the ways of democracy, and as a righteous system of governance and strengthen the reputation of their country. In fact, there is a lesson here to be learned that Cory had said to her speech, trying to stifle with the mean by which it grows. By this, she fulfilled her duty for her people and country, not just for justice, but for victory of freedom.
Former President Corazon Aquino has a strong willpower and does not allow anyone and anything to destroy or take away the freedom and peace for which she once battled to achieve. She is a promoter of human rights and peace talks. She said in her speech that if she fails to negotiate against the communist insurgency, she will not be afraid to take up the sword of war and continue to fight for the peace. The talk between President Aquino and President Reagan is like a signal to help the Philippines to practice democracy.
I learned on the first paragraph that there were too many people suffered during the past election. Wherever the campaigns go, there are always people crying for help. During this day, I learned that we should be true to our words and aligned to our action in order to have a better community or place we live. I learned that being a leader is very challenging and full of responsibilities. You must solve a problem even though it's not yours. Most important, I learned how politicians work and how they handle our community problems. From this speech, I would like to reflect on myself on how would I be as a leader. I know that I don't have enough authority to lead the people. I am always struggling to overcome my fear on speaking in front of other people. When you are a leader, you must know your responsibilities and you should know how to grant your promises to your people or your subordinate.